sure that this is a simple math, and you should know how to plot this. Okay, given different activity and the cost to perform different activities and the schedule to perform individual activity. Okay, when to start, when to finish. Then you able to plot this. Okay, and this is also part of the curve that you need to use for control. Okay, so you can also start sketching this and see whether you know how to plot it or not. Okay, so given cost, okay, given cost and given when to start, when to finish, you should be able to plot the S curve. Okay, so basically these are the few things that you need to remember, and then finally we have this. Now this is a long one, and there are two parts of this PowerPoint. The first part talks about how to do the preparation work. Okay, now for example, sorry, the wrong slide. This one. Okay, so there are two parts of this set of PowerPoint. The first part talks about the preparation work, and as you can see, all these are preparation work. Okay, basically that will it will show you how to prepare the planned S-curve for progress versus time, and the planned S-curve for cost versus time. This one is obtained from previous S-curve, okay, from the previous PowerPoint. Okay, given enough data, you should be able to plot this, and then you should be able to plot this. Okay, in the following slide, that will give you some idea how to plot it. Okay, and then for this percentage, okay, given individual activities completion, you should be able to come up with this percentage, overall project completion percentage. Okay, so all these are just the preparation work. For example, the planned cost time compared to the previous PowerPoint I just showed you, and the actual cost versus time, not necessarily a curve. It could be just a data on a particular day, and this will be a given. And then how to come up with the planned work time curve. In other words, this one, how to come up with this one. So basically, follow this procedure. Okay, by now you also know how to do it. And then the actual work time, not curve, could be just a data. In other words, from this set of PowerPoint, how to come up with this point, this percentage. Okay, and there are two methods to. Okay, so in order to come up with the percentage of completion of a project, okay, individual activities percentage of completion must be known first. Okay, so these are different ways to estimate on site the percentage of completion. Okay, so you should understand different method. Okay, so these are the different methods you can use. And then once you found out the individual activities completion, then from this individual site measurement, from the given budget, you should be able to come up with the project percent complete, either this way or this way. Okay, so these are all the preparation work, and eventually you have one solid curve, another solid curve, and then given certain data, let's say on a reporting day, this is the progress, or this is the money you spend, then you should be able to interpret the project status. Okay, so in other words, for example, this point, given enough data, you should be able to find out. Okay, individual activity, this S-curve follow the procedure in previous PowerPoint. Okay, so at the end you should be able to make interpretation about the fourth scenario. Okay, so this is a quick review. So next week I don't need to go through the review. Okay, unless you have further questions to ask. Okay, so since Tuesday is a holiday, I mentioned in the Moodles. Okay, we are slightly behind schedule. Okay, because my pace of teaching is slower. It's slower because I'm afraid that you all may not understand. So from today, okay, and the rest of the classes, I will resume back to the 2-hour class. Okay, just for a few classes. Okay, because if I go too fast, okay, you all don't understand. There's no point. Okay, to rush through and finish everything. Okay, and since we are supposed to have 4 hours a week lecture. Okay, and so we save 1 hour a week, altogether 15 weeks. So we have 15 hours extra. 15 hours deduct 2 tests, and then maybe another 2 hours of Q&A, another 2 hours of project presentation. So about 10 hours only. We still have 5 hours to make up. Okay, so hope that you all can understand that I'm not asking you to have overtime. Okay, basically I just make use of whatever hour given to me to finish up the course. Okay. Now, according to the university, you are supposed to fill out the evaluation form, and they said don't do it now. I know that you can do it online, but they said that please wait until the last class and also do it together in the class. Okay, so I will give you 5 or 10 minutes to do it online during the class. Okay, probably the last class. Okay, or the last meeting we have. Okay, so this is the instruction I got from the faculty. Okay, so you can do the online evaluation now, but don't do it now. Okay, although the link is open. Okay, do it later. So anything you want to ask related to the content of the test? Okay, I won't answer individual questions related to the content. Okay, because it's not fair just to talk to a few. Okay, and then without the rest of the class knowing what I told some students. Okay, so any question related to content? Now this time I haven't said the question yet. Okay, I think we will not have fill in the blank. Okay, because basically we will have 40 to 50% of sketching and interpretation, and the rest will be just a few short questions to do. Okay, so this time no fill in the blank. Okay, plus I don't know why. Okay, overall fill in the blank the class average for fill in the blank is 50-50. Okay, in other words, that part class average for fill in the blank is just pass. I don't know why. Okay, so usually I think that fill in the blank should be easy. Okay, 即係你哋中學都冇能冇見填中題啦，係咪？ But I don't know why fill in the blank is supposed to be easy. Okay, but unfortunately, okay, if you don't prepare well enough, whatever types of question I pose, still you cannot score a good grade. Okay, so I just finished the fill in the blank for test 2. Okay, the class average again is just pass. Okay, same as last time. Okay, test 1 and test 2 fill in the blank, the class average is just pass. Okay, so in other words, the average is around 20 out of 40. Okay, So this time I cut the fill in the red. Okay, just ask you a few questions, and then a few questions will work about 50%, and the other 50% will be in the form of simple calculation and then simple sketching and interpretation of result. Okay? Yeah.
How about the setting of the short questions? Still as similar to the previous one?
Yeah.
No, I mean providing 4 questions, but I answer 3.
Oh, I haven't thought about that. If I okay, I try to. Okay, I let you know on next week because I haven't set the question yet. Okay, ask me again next Friday. Okay, whether there will be a choice or not. Probably I will give you a choice. Okay, so that you also have an excuse that if I miss one part, that question will be 0. Okay, so if I give you a choice, then you can at least choose the best one you know. Okay. So any other question related to the test? I don't understand the question. Can you say it out louder?
Let us to do the case study based on examples, which have the better than just let us to memorize understanding materials.
No, I think I won't narrow down the content of this test anymore because the content is relatively small content. Okay, so I guess I guess for that 50% you also prepare well for those questions. Okay. Okay, so I hope I can finish this PowerPoint today, okay, which is the site administration. Now, okay, let's continue with this. Last time we started a little bit. We only look at why we need to keep record. Okay, so we start from here today. Now there are different records that different party has to keep. So basically, for this set of PowerPoint, okay, you know that in the construction side, usually you have the consultant, you will have the contractor, right? So in this set of PowerPoint, we will try to look at the different types of record that the consultant company will keep. But as you can see, whatever they keep, they will also do the same. Okay, they will also do the. For example, they may prepare a weekly report. Okay, a summary of the work done. Okay, and of course the contractor will also do the same. Okay, so in this set of PowerPoint, we will discuss based on consultant. Okay, for example, the engineer may keep some record. Of course, the contractor from the contractor office, they also have the engineer. The engineer will also keep similar record. Okay, and in a meeting, they will keep the minutes of the meeting. Of course, they will also keep the minutes of the meeting. Okay, so that you should look at it in pair. Okay, they have someone to supervise the work. They also have someone to supervise the work and keep the similar record. Okay, so in terms, we will look at first of all historical record. What is historical record? Basically, this is related to the progress of work. Okay, so all these different historical record give you a full picture of how the construction work progresses. Okay, how, at what time, what did you finish, what are the problems or difficulty that you encounter history of the project. Okay, that's why they call it historical record. Okay, now there are a few. Okay, so try to understand who prepared this, why he has to prepare this, and what is the content of each type of record. Now the name may be different. Okay, the name used in Hong Kong or used in Macau or other places may be different. The name of the record, but try to remember that someone has to keep this type of write this report. Okay, what is the purpose of that report, and then what is the content of this report. Okay, this is universal. This is universal. In other words, everywhere they have similar record. Okay, now the first one. Okay, first of all, make sure you distinguish these two words. Okay, now even in text 2, there are lots of spelling mistakes. Okay, very serious spelling mistake. Okay, when you try to beat a job, BID, and then someone spelling build, BILL. Okay, so this is a very serious spelling mistake. Okay, try not to make all these mistakes in the exam. Okay, because I will not consider as a correct answer if you say beat and then write build. Okay, now two words here. Okay, let me give you a brief summary of all these first. Inspector. Who is the inspector? From the consultant company, they have an inspector watching the foreman, watching the labor to perform their work. Okay, so in smaller project, consultant may not have this. Okay, but in large project, the RE office, okay, the resident engineer office, they have a post called inspector. Okay, the inspector will monitor the work performed by foreman. Okay, so they have to write return. Okay, and this is a daily, DAILY. Okay, daily is different from diary. Okay, don't mix up with these two words. Daily means every day. Diary means something you write daily. 清楚嗎 ？Daily 即係每日 ，diary 即係寫日記嗰日記。Okay, so don't mix up with these two words. Now, so when different inspector report what they inspect, okay, they come up with a report, and then the side diary record everything from the inspector's return, and then make a summary of what happened on a particular day. So we call it diary. Okay, and then this is official document. Okay, and also this will be submitted to the contractor office. Okay, they prepare the diary. Okay, submit it to the contractor. If they agree, they sign it. So it's something official. Something unofficial is the RE diary. Okay, RE diary is a more personal. Okay, if you want to record something more personal, okay, when you go out to work as an engineer, it's important that you record, you write your own diary. Okay, just to remind yourself what happened on a particular day. Someone give you an instruction, it may be verbal. Okay, a few months later you may forget. Okay, so whatever help you to recall your memory at a later stage, put it in your diary. Okay, so this is a personal diary. Everybody should write. Okay, because after a few days you will forget. Okay, and then weekly report basically summarize the site diary, and monthly report. Okay, so all these basically report the progress. ABCD report the progress of the work. Okay, so take a look at this. Any sample you are not responsible. This is an inspector report. Okay, now what an inspector's work is to monitor the labor's work. Okay, so basically in his daily return, okay, he just report the work that being carried out, okay, what he has seen, okay, and then related to the resource use, labor, okay, and the equipment, okay, labor, equipment, and materials, okay. So a brief summary of the resource uses, okay. Resource will be the key word, okay. The work performed on a particular day together with the resource use, okay. So one sentence will summarize the content of this, okay. Now anything particular he observed should be written down. For example, any delay, any particular event happened, okay, because he is the inspector. Whatever he observed, okay, something strange, a delay, okay, anything happened, he should put it down in his daily return. Okay, why we call it return? Because this page will be returned to the site office. Okay, you may have a few inspectors, so different inspectors monitor different area of the job. Okay, and at the end of the day, they have to prepare something like this. Okay, return this page back to the site office. Okay, and then the site office will make a summary of all the return. Okay, as you can see here, is a formal record which no matter not only on inspector's daily return, okay, but also they will put additional information, okay, whether, because it will be different every day, okay, some visitor to the site, any meeting held on a particular day, in other words, more information than just the progress of work, okay. So when they collect all the return from the inspector will report to them what they observed in terms of work progress. And then the site diary, they will add more information, okay, other than the work description, okay, they will add weather condition, they will add site condition, they will have the resource mentioned here, material, labor use, and equipment use, and so on. Okay, so basically this is a summary of what happened on a particular day. Okay, so this again, you are not responsible for the sample. Okay, but just remember what is a site diary. Okay, and then this is more personal, as I said before. Okay, more personal and informal document. Okay, 即係呢個唔係一個 official 嘅 document 嚟嘅。Okay, just like you write your own diary. Okay, it's not supposed to disclose to any other to read your diary. But in case you forget, in case someone asks you something but you forget, okay, you can always go back to your diary. Okay, you can call it an engineer's diary, whatever. Okay, but the nature of this diary is for individual to keep record of what happened. Okay, something may be not important on that particular day. You see something, but you are not sure whether this is important or not. But write it down first. Okay, because you may never know. A few days later, whatever you write down could be very, very important to explain something. Okay, so this is what we call diary. Okay, so but you can take a look. Okay, but try not to memorize the whole page. Okay, they record decision on problems. Okay, someone asks you how to solve a problem. You tell them, okay, do this. Okay, you may forget what you told others. Next day, okay, put it down in the diary. Comment made by the employer. Okay, and phone call. Okay, even phone call you receive may be important later. may be misunderstanding later. If you got a good record, you can always show others. Okay, that is the original idea. That is the original decision I made. Okay, and then the fourth one, weekly report, monthly report, basically, okay, is a summary of the site diary. Okay, weekly report summarize the progress of work. Okay, again, it's a cumulative task. Cumulative task. You want a weekly report, you take out all the site diary and then make a summary. Okay, again, work progress usually is the main focus of any report. Okay, whether this is weekly, monthly, daily, you always have work progress. Okay, and for the more official report, usually they will include money and schedule. Okay, how you use the budget. Okay, is it behind or ahead of schedule? Okay, so time and money should always be included in the report because this is what they care. Okay, so in weekly, monthly report, basically three keywords: work progress, money spent, and then the schedule. Okay, so this is usually reported in any report. Okay, now so you can take a look at a sample here, weekly report. So they mainly write down the work that complete. Okay, the work that complete. They even read the information and so on. Okay, but you are not responsible for sample. Now, this is again a very important document. We call it site instruction. Now, whenever you see site instruction, usually who gives the instruction to who? Okay, it's usually referred to consultant. Okay, consultant give site instruction, okay, to the contractor. Now, what is the purpose of site instruction? Okay, there are lots of time you need site instruction. Okay, in other words, information that the consultant wants contractor to know. For example, you may have error corrected. Okay, you may find drawing with error. You correct the drawing, and then you need to give instruction to the contractor. This is the correct one. Okay, there's an error found in my drawing. Okay, as simple as this. Okay, you need instruction, right? And then any other example? For example, changes. Okay, the owner want to make some changes. Okay, so you need to give site instruction related to the changes and instruct the contractor. Okay, so there are lots of situations you need to give site instruction to the contractor, and therefore usually site instruction usually will be numbered. Okay, you may have throughout the project you may have hundreds of site instructions. Okay, now on the other hand, if contractor don't understand something, okay, just like you don't understand something, you ask me, I tell you. Okay, this also requires site instruction. Okay, maybe I don't understand the meaning of a specific specification. I want you to clarify. Okay, so they ask questions. They will reply formally through site instruction. Okay, so there are lots of situations you need site instruction. To name a few here, the information could include all these related to the work, okay, material to be ordered. Now, remedial work proposed. What does it mean? If the work related to the work if their work is not acceptable, what will they do? Okay, after the inspection, if the contractor's work is not acceptable, okay, they will make a proposal how to fix the problem. Make a proposal to the consultant. The consultant review the proposal and then give site instruction, saying that okay, this is the way you should fix the problem. Again, it's a formal instruction. Okay, so you can see there may be many site instructions throughout the whole project. Okay, whenever they need to communicate officially, okay, site instruction is very important. Now, why this is important? Simply because lots of time, all this will involve what? All this will involve money and time. Okay, that's why this is a very important document. You have a proper date. On that particular day, you give me this instruction to make changes. Okay, now this serves as an evidence. Okay, on that day, I have already finished this work. You ask me to change, you have to pay for it. You have to give me extra time. Okay, so site instruction serve as an evidence. Okay, so that the contractor can make further claim of money and time. Okay, if he is entitled to. Okay, now take a look at the next. Okay, now this is the site instruction. Okay, again you can look at it yourself. Sometimes when you want to ask question, okay, ask question, you issue a memo to the consultant. The consultant use your memo, return it back to you, answering your question. This is a site instruction. Okay, or this could be a direct site instruction from the consultant. Okay, telling you what you should do. Okay, now the last, okay, not the last one, the sixth one. Okay, this is also considered as record. Taking picture, taking video. This is also a record. Okay, because the photo or video will tell you how the construction work progresses. Okay, stage by stage. Okay, and there are different reasons why we want to keep. Okay, keep this type of visual record. Okay, to keep this permanent visual and sometimes audio record of the progress. Okay, of course, the very first question is we keep this record so that we know at a particular time what is the progress. Sometimes a photo can tell you much better than writing. Okay, for example, you take a photo of the excavation work. Okay, right away you can tell the progress, or you excavate to that depth. Okay, or any construction. Okay, a photo can easily be used, okay, as a measure of the progress of work. And there are other purposes, okay, to show particular feature of the work which will generally be covered up later. Now this is important. Why we need to make big photo? Because later on you will not be able to see. Okay. Now for example, can you see how they fix the rebar inside this wall? No. Okay. So some construction feature, if you think that is important, take photo. Because later on you will not be able to see. Okay, lots of time is related to concreting procedure. Okay, some detailing. Okay, if you want to know what happened later on, you need to destroy. You need to destroy the concrete before you can see what is inside. But if you have a photo to see, this is a very good evidence what is inside. Okay. 咁大家都好似睇過嗰個香港地鐵嗰單 cover up 嗰個案件。Okay, remember the Hong Kong MTR case? Okay, they cover up the length of a rebar. Okay, photo to show, okay, they may not need to destroy the wall and then see what is inside. Okay, so lots of time photo can be served as an evidence of what is inside, particularly when you cannot see later. The last reason for educational purpose. Okay, for engineer, this is also important to keep photo. Okay, because it can help you to remember your design, whether it works or not. Okay, for example, you design a steel structure or RC structure. Okay, in the construction site. Okay, when they are constructing according to your design, it's good to take photo so that you see, oh, this is how your design convert to reality. Okay, see whether they do according to what you design. Okay, and also for educational purpose or sometimes publicity purpose. Okay, or they could use it as a promotional item. Okay, so this is also site instruction. Now the last one, I don't need to spend too much time on it because you know that in any construction site, you've got meetings. Okay, there are lots of different types of meeting. Okay, they may have safety meeting, quality meeting. Okay, okay. Usually for engineer, okay, basically you need to meet with the contractor every day. Okay, now for official meeting, okay, there should be official meeting minutes. You all know what is minutes, right? Okay, now it's important to keep all these meeting minutes. Okay, typical meeting minutes you should include all these. Okay, title of the meeting, for example, this is the third meeting or the third safety meeting or project ABC, whatever. Okay, there should be a title for each minute. Project name, number, date of the meeting. Now this is important. Party in attendance. Who is present in the meeting? Okay, and then typical progress again will be discussed. Okay, usually progress will be discussed in any meeting, and then an old and new business day for the next meeting. This is a standard format of any meeting minutes. Okay, now if you can look at a typical one. Now this is a standard meeting minutes. Now for example, these are the different issues you discuss. Okay, different issues you discuss. Now, usually whatever discussed, if there's any decision made on a particular item, usually they have this response. Okay, who should take action? Who should follow up this particular item? Okay, so they may have a person or department. Okay, now this is important. If you see your name here, that means you have to follow up this particular item, and make sure that the description here is correct. Okay, or make sure that this is what they have discussed in the meeting. Okay, the content is correct. Okay, and also usually they have a sort of action date when you need to take action. Okay, who will take the action or follow up? Okay, so this is basically the meeting minutes, and also make sure that you have this in attendance. Okay, because everybody attending the meeting should have a copy. Okay, because they should know the content. They should know whether they are responsible to take any action or not. So this serves as a reminder of what you need to do. Okay, so basically this is the meeting minutes. Okay, so we have looked at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. any question you want to bring out or discuss? Okay, it's quite straightforward. When you go out and work for the contractor in the site office, basically you will face all these documents. Okay, whether you write it in Chinese or English. Okay, you will be facing all these documents eventually. Okay, when you work for contractor. Now, let's look at the second category. Second category refers to quantitative and financial record. Now, this is totally different from progress. Okay, this is related to I would say payment, related to payment. Okay, now in order to make payment, this word is important. Quantitative. You need to quantify the work first before you can convert it to value. Okay? So usually these two words goes together. Quantity of work and then value of your work. Okay? Because in making any payment, you always start with quantity and then convert it to value and then payment. Okay? If you want to find out how much the owner should pay you, first of all, you need to have quantity of work. How much work you perform this month, convert it to value. Okay? And then claim as a payment from the owner. Okay? So the second category of data will be related to payment. Okay? All the record related to payment. Now, take a look at this. Okay? And there are at least they may call it different names. Okay? This is the name used in UK, and Hong Kong, and in Macau. I'm not sure whether they use this as the English translation. Okay, but again, understand the purpose of each record, the purpose and the content, not necessarily just the name. The name could may not be the same here. Okay, site measurement book. Okay, this is related to here. Okay, so first of all, you need to measure the quantity of work in the construction site. Okay, now this is a job usually performed by quantity surveyor. Okay, if you still remember the function of a quantity surveyor. Okay, they one of the duty for the contractor quantity surveyor is to measure the quantity of work. Okay, quantity of work. That's why they call it quantity surveyor. They survey the quantity. Okay, part of the work. Part of their work is to survey the quantity of the work complete. Okay, so that's why they call it quantity surveyor. Okay, so they do measurement recorded in a book. Okay, for example, they measure, for this month, okay, this building has complete, and therefore how many cubic meter of concrete pour for slab, how many cubic meter of concrete pour for column, and so on. Okay, so they have to record all this, put it in a measurement book. Okay, and then this measurement will be converted to a statement. This statement will be used to claim payment from owner. Okay, so let's take a look at the first two first. Okay, now site measurement book. Now on site, all measurement of completed work are entered into the site measurement book. Okay, now so basically the work is like this. Remember how to do estimation if you still remember BQ, okay, you know what is BQ, okay? How they prepare BQ, bill of quantity. They prepare BQ based on joint, right? From joint, they extract the information, come up with all the quantity of work, okay, and that form BQ. Okay, now that is, if I can write this, before, and then actual. Okay, when the actual consumption start, okay, they will have the measurement book. Okay, now they don't measure based on the joint. They measure according to the building constructed. Okay, you understand? Before we don't have anything to measure, but based on the joint, we can find out the quantity of work. Okay, we can find out, for example, as simple as according to the joint. If we look at the architectural joint, we may need 100 windows. Okay, so you can put it down here. Part of the work will be you need to install 100 windows based on the joint, right? Now, when the actual construction starts, you got something constructed, right? You go to the site and measure how the number of windows constructed, and then enter this information into the measurement book. Okay, you see the similarity there. Before you look at joint, now you measure based on the real construction. Okay, the process is the same. Okay, but before you look at joint to do the measurement, now you look at something real to do the measurement. Okay, now then let's say we complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 floor completed. Okay, then you can find out column. Okay, how many cubic meter of concrete. Okay, and whatever item you use. Okay, before you have the BQ. Now you do the actual measurement. Okay, now before the BQ will look like this. Items. Okay, quantity. This is based on joints, right? And then you may enter the unit rate. Okay, the unit rate, which is whatever cost per cubic meter, whatever. Okay. Now, before you got a BQ looks like this. Now you also have the quantity, which is the actual quantity, not based on joint anymore. Okay, you got the actual quantity, and then based on this rate you submit before, okay, in the BQ, then they will estimate the payment according to this rate if there is a rate given. Okay, so this is a process. Okay, the quantity measure are gathered on an abstract sheet before they are compiled into a statement. Okay, so you may have many pages of all this quantity you measure from the construction site, and then they convert it to value, and then compile the statement. Okay, you will see on the next slide how a statement looks like. Okay, so this is essential that all measurement data, figures, calculations are accurate. Okay, now it all depends on whether whether you use unit price contracts or lump sum contracts. Okay, if you still remember the difference between the two. Okay, now this site measurement should be very accurate if you use unit price, because whatever you measure, you will get paid according to the unit complete. For example, you measure 4 windows complete. Okay, so you will be paid according to a unit rate. How much per window you complete 4, then you will get what you want. Okay, in the unit price. Okay, so this measurement must be very accurate if you use unit price contract. But you may not need to be very accurate in the lump sum, because eventually at the end of the consumption you will be paid according to the lump sum. So all these monthly statement you may not need to measure very accurately if this is a lump sum contract. Okay, so this measurement book will be used as a reference determining how much you will get paid. Okay, if you got a monthly payment, okay, then you have to do this every month. Okay, this process will be repeated every month. Okay, any question up to here? So this is okay. 2A is the very first step that the construction site will perform this exercise most likely every month. Okay, they have to go to the construction site. Now, how to make the measurement? This will be out of the scope of this course. Okay, you need to be a quantity surveyor in order to know how to measure. Okay, but at least you got the concept that the contractor will do this type of measurement every month. Okay, now the next one will be, the next record is called the interim statement. Now every month the contractor submit to the RE, the consultant, a statement, okay, of the work complete in that month. The RE will value. Okay, in other words, I claim that, okay, in the interim statement, I claim that I have completed that much work. Okay, and then they have the RE representing the owner or the client has to check whether what they claim in the statement is correct or not. Okay, and then the RE will certify whether the value is correct or not. Okay, and this statement, once it is signed by the RE, will be forwarded to client. The client will issue payment within the period specified. Okay, this is the payment process. Okay, so I repeat it one more time. The payment process starts with measurement. Okay, you measure what you have done. Okay, and then submit a statement to the consultant. Okay, the consultant office will check your data. Okay, in terms of work done, in terms of value. Okay, if the amount is correct, then they will certify the statement, forward it to owner. Okay, upon receiving this statement from the RE side, then the owner will make payment. Now, there's always a disagreement. Okay, when they say they have complete something, okay, will the RE accept the quality or not? Okay, according to the measurement book, I complete certain work. Okay, now the RE will check all this work up to the standard or not. Okay, if some of the work are not up to the standard, they may take it out. Okay, if it's not up to the standard, they may request them to fix it first before I issue payment for that part of the work. Okay? No. In other words, the RE representing the owner has this authority to accept or not to accept the work that they claim finished. Okay? Although the contractor claimed that they finished this. Okay? But the RE has the responsibility to check whether whatever they finish is up to standard or not. Okay? If not up to the standard, in the value process, they can take it away and not certify a particular item if it's not up to the standard. Okay? Now, together, okay, in continue with this interim statement. Okay? Now, sometimes they call it, now, you know what is interims? Interims mean in between. Okay? In the middle. Okay? You have the first, you have the final, and in between, all these are called interim. Okay? So, you may have the initial payment, you have the final payment from the owner, and in between, all this payment will be called the interim payment. Okay? Or sometimes they call it interim valuation. Valuation is from the word value. Okay? The process of estimating the value of something is called valuation. Okay, so remember this word. Or sometimes they call it interim certificate. Okay? Now, take a look. I go back to this one right away. This is a standard interim valuation. Okay? You will see how it works later. Okay, I will come back to this one. But this is the process. Okay? Now, understand what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you look at a construction site, okay, how you value, okay, what are the items that you value? Okay? Now when you look at a construction site, okay, you may have partially complete something. Okay? So first of all, estimate the value of the permanent work executed. Okay? So most likely, okay, you have a basement and some floor completed. Okay? So all these will be called permanent work completed. Okay? Of course, this will be the major item of the value. Okay? The permanent work complete. Now, the way to do it is like this. They will look at the value, the total value of permanent work completed. This is the first item. Total value. Okay? Not just the increase in value of a particular month. Remember, not just the increase in value of a particular month. They look at the total value of the work complete up to a particular date. Okay? Now, to estimated value of temporary work. What is temporary work? Okay? Now, in order to construct this floor, you may need some temporary work. Okay, so that people can work on this as a platform. Okay? So you may have temporary work established up to here. Okay? But you may not see anything here. Okay? But all this temporary work will be used as a platform to construct the permanent work. Okay? So this also has value. Okay? Part of the process. Okay? And usually this temporary work, okay, they have a specific section in the EQ, temporary work. Okay? So this is permanent work. Okay, they also check what are the temporary work that have been installed. It has its value. Okay, so you have to include the value of some temporary work. Temporary work. Okay, and then the third one, the estimated value of the material stored on site for permanent consumption. Okay, now in the consumption site, okay, you may have some materials there, okay, but not yet used. Not yet used. Okay, in the consumption side, this is common, right? Everywhere you found material, but all this material will be used in the consumption. Okay, so again, you have to include this because this will be eventually part of the permanent work. So again, you need to include this value. Okay, anything you see an elevator there, add the value to that because the elevator will eventually put into the building. Okay, so whatever material product you found stored on site, put it together. Okay, now estimated sum payable to nominated subcontractor. Now this is they separate the calculation. Okay, remember what is nominated subcontractor? Nominated by the owner. Okay, so the owner will separate this payment from the rest. Okay, so this is another part of the total. Now, any other sums of the contractor is entitled to under the contract, for example, fluctuation cost. Okay, now when you look at this 1, 2, 3, this will be the major item. Okay, now add them up. This is the value that they can pay. Okay, and then together with some up and down. Okay, we call it fluctuation. If in the contract you are allowed to pay extra because of labor rate, material rate increase more than certain percentage, then you can claim this extra because of up and down. Okay, so in other words, whatever you think that you can claim, okay, it will be in the fifth item. So first of all, add up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the value. Okay, you will claim. Okay, on a particular day. Now then, you have to make some adjustment. Okay, previous payment on the work complete with satisfaction. Okay, now this may be the total work of 10 months. Okay, let's say you are at the end of 10 months. This is the total value, right, of 10 months. So this total, you have to take away the previous 9-month payment because you received this already. Okay， 之前你收咗錢嘅啦嘛。Okay， 之前嗰9次你收咗錢㗎嘛，而家係傾第10次啊嘛。Okay， so from the total, you have to deduct what you paid in the previous payment. Understand? Okay, because this is the total. Okay, you got paid in the previous payment, you have to take it out. Okay, so deduct, okay, minus previous payment on the work complete with satisfaction. Another deduction, this is standard. Retention of the percentage of the total contract sum. Okay, this is the total. The owner is supposed to keep 5%, 10% of retention. If you still remember what is retention, this is also one of the three, the brand in test 2. Most of you spell incorrectly. Retention, R-E-T-N-T-I-O-N. Make sure you remember this word, retention. Okay, so the owner will take. Okay, 1 million if the retention is 10%, right? So you have to take this retention away. Cost of the material supplied by client. Okay? If some of the material you came here is supplied by the client, then in other words, it's not what you pay. So you have to again take it out. Okay? And also you have to take other costs out. For example, fluctuation cost. Okay, this is the same as this. Okay, because remember fluctuation can go up and down. Okay, if in case the material rate, labor rate drops below certain percentage, then you have to pay back. You have to pay back to the owner. Okay, so remember fluctuation. Okay, depending on whether it's up or down. Okay, you pay back to the owner, or the owner pay you extra. Okay, so this is something you have to understand. So when you add up this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then deduct this 6, 7, 8, 9, then you will get the net. Okay, and this is the payment for the. If I use this as an example, this is the payment you are entitled to pay at the end of the 10 months. Okay? Now take a look at, okay, before I move on, any points that you don't understand? Okay, this is how they calculate items by items. Okay? Now, this is a sample, okay? You don't need to remember that. Okay? Now, this is, okay, some of the terms you may not understand, but doesn't matter. Look at what I boxed here. Gross variation, okay? Gross variation, okay? Which is this one plus this one. Subtotal. Now, contractors work. This most likely will be the permanent work together with the temporary work. Material on site, okay? And other profit and attendance costs. Now this is a subtotal. And another part will be paid to the nominated subcontractor. Okay, when you add up this is the subtotal. Okay? Now take a look at this. This is the gross variation total. Okay? And then this is the total retention. In other words, this one minus maybe 5% of retention. This is the net. Okay, up to this month, the value after deduction of retention, you are supposed to get this. But in the previous payment, you have got this already. Okay, further deduct, and therefore the amount due. For this payment, you are entitled to this amount. Okay, so this is a summary, or they can call it interim valuation or interim certificate. Now, this is prepared by contractor, submitted to the RE or engineer or architect, representing the owner. Okay, so the RE or the owner's representative will check all these figures. Okay, and see whether it's correct or not. If correct, then issue this certificate. Okay, if you think that this amount is correct, then they issue this certificate. This time you make this payment to the contractor. Okay, and then sign here, architect. Okay, not necessarily RE or engineer. Whoever authorized by the owner to certify this payment, okay, will check all the figures and then put this signature here. Okay, as you can see, total value less retention. This is the cumulative total. Okay, and then minus cumulative total amount received in the previous payment. This minus that will be the current payment. Okay? So at the end, once the owner receives this certificate, the owner will issue payment of this amount to the contractor. Okay? Any question up to here? Yeah.
So why they have to count material on site like not yet used?
Oh, simply because this will be eventually put into here. So this has value. The contractor pay first. Okay, when the contractor receive material, the contractor has to pay. Okay, so the contractor is entitled to claim payment because I have paid for this material, although it's not yet put into the structure. Okay? So
Okay.
it's either count here, or when the material is here, you count it here in the permanent structure. But still, within the construction site, okay, everything that has value and eventually put together in the permanent building, the contractor can claim because they pay first. Okay, they pay first. Okay. Now, any other question?
So means that
Mm-hmm.
if the materials put on the structure,
Yeah.
like they just count the permanent work,
Yeah.
the work, not the materials
No.
anymore. Okay.
Okay. Now, after that, there are few construction stages. Okay, very important milestone that you need to remember. Okay. I put some keywords in this few slides just to remind you that there are some important recorded milestones. Okay. Now the first one, if I can draw a timeline here, you may have the construction here, and then a very important timeline here is of course the end of construction. End of construction, and they have a specific term. Okay. By the time the work are substantially completed with satisfaction, the engineer will issue a certificate, practical completion. Okay, so this timeline we call it practical completion. Okay, now this is a very important timeline simply because it's from a contractor's point of view. Okay, once they reach this date, okay, there are some important meaning, okay, of this date. Take a look at this. This date signifies the beginning of the defects liability period. Okay, so in other words, when you reach this date, from this time on, there's a special term, we call it defect liability period. Okay, so in other words, this date is the dividing line between two periods. One is called construction period. The other period is called the defect liability period. Okay, now for example, in the contract, if the defect liability period is one year, okay, within 1 year, you have to come back and fix all the problems. When do they count this 1 year? They count it from this date. Okay, when the engineer agree that the construction is practically complete. Okay, so this is an important date. This is also the date. Okay, they count the construction period. Now, why this is important? Construction period. Okay, you are what you are entitled to, you have to pay what? This is tax 2, if you still remember. If your consumption period is longer than the contract period, what will happen? If this is longer than this, you have to pay liquidated damage per day. Okay, so that's why this date is very important. You push it longer, you pay more. If it is longer than the contract period. Okay? So of course, if it is shorter, okay, sometimes you may receive bonus too. You may receive bonus. But if it's okay, if it's longer or shorter, okay, you may need to pay penalty. Okay, here you may have bonuses. If you finish earlier than the contract period, you may have received bonus depending on how you sign the contract. But definitely, if you finish this date is longer than the contract period, you have to pay penalty, which is what we call liquidated damage. Okay? So remember this date, ending of liability for liquidated damage. Okay? So two significant events happen here for this important date. First one, defect liability period start. Second, it signifies the end of consumption, end of the consumption period, ending of the consumption period. Okay, this is the second significant. The third significant, here, there will be a partial release of retention. Okay, that makes the contractor very happy. Okay, usually when this is practically complete, okay, the owner will pay back part of the retention money, maybe 50%. Okay, but that is a large sum of money. For example, if you got $100 million, okay, or that is too small, or for example, just $100 million worth. If the owner hold 10% retention, at this date, how much the owner is holding? The owner may be holding $10 million of retention on this day, right? 10%. Usually the owner will pay back half of this. Okay? If the owner pay back 50% of the 10 million retention, you will get $5 million back. Okay? Assuming that the project is very small, 100 million. Okay? So this is again a very significant day because the contractor will get back some money. Okay? So remember these three significant. Okay? When the project reach this particular date, we call it partial completion. Sorry, not partial, practical. Okay? Practical in Chinese means 基本上原則上係完成㗎啦。呢個當然仲有好多細微嘅要執啦。OK， 但係基本上原則上係完㗎啦。嗰個 construction work。Okay, now take a look at this sample of certificate practical completion. Okay, take a look. This is a sample. The engineer will certify. Okay, he can choose A or B. Okay, the work opinion, practically complete. Okay, and the said liability period will end on a particular date. This is an important certificate. Okay, because but the contractor is happy to receive. I can say that this is a certificate the contractor is happy to receive. Okay. Now sometimes they may choose B. A part of the work, approximate value. Okay. Okay. If they don't accept all the work, okay, they can put some work that they need to fix it. Okay, they can choose B. Okay, but usually they will choose A. Okay, that signifies practical completion of the project. Now, remember, this is another period. Okay, this is what we call defect liability period. Okay, now sometimes they call it maintenance period. Maintenance period. Now, why they call it maintenance period? Okay, this is same as maintenance period. The same. Okay, within this period, okay, we call it maintenance period. You need to maintain. If I found any problems, you have to come back and fix it. Okay, so if this is 1 year, they come from here to here 1 year. Within this year, if I see any problem, I will call you back and you have to fix it. Okay, we call it either we call it defect liability. You are liable to fix the defect, or you need to keep the work, okay, keep the maintenance work for this year. It may not be a problem, but you need to do the maintenance within this period if there is anything wrong. Okay, so this is another important date. When you get to here, at the end of the maintenance period, the work must be delivered to the client in as good a condition as it was at the beginning of the period. Okay, in other words, this is here another important date. After this date, there are some work that need to be done. Okay, the engineer, okay, if everything okay, the engineer will issue another cert to the contractor. Okay, once the contractor receives this certificate, definitely he will be happy, because after that day, if anything happens, you fix it. Okay, I am not liable, I am not responsible to fix any problem anymore. Okay, after this date. Okay, so we call this certificate of making good defect or maintenance certificate. Okay, and you will see. Okay, sorry, I don't have the sample here. Okay, now after this, at the end of the maintenance period, the contractor has to do. Okay, this is the certificate of making good. Okay, in other words, again, the quantity surveyor or architect, they have to certify that after 1 year, at the end of the maintenance period, everything is still perfect, no defects. Okay, so they certified it and issued this. Now, once the project reaches this stage, okay, within a specific period after the issue of this certificate, they have to submit a statement of the final account. Okay, so in other words, from here, the contractor will submit, will request for final payment. Okay, now that is important. Okay, they again recalculate everything. Okay, according to the contract, how much I'm entitled to, and then how much I have already received, how much I still owe you. In other words, in the final payment, okay, they will calculate how much the client still owe the contractor. Okay, this will be calculated in the final account. Okay, together with the retention money. Okay, so confirming the total value of the project and the balance payable to the contractor. Okay, and at the end there will be some. Okay, this is the original contract sum. Okay, some addition according to the architect instruction, some omission. Okay, so in other words, this is the final account. Total, you add something, I keep extra. You delete something, I deduct it. And also at the end, this is the total final account. Okay, this is the previous payment I received, and then the final account is this. You still owe me that much. Okay, so in other words, at the end of the defect liability period, they will settle the final account. Okay, accordingly, and that is the time that the contractor will receive all the rest of the retention money. Okay, now that's why that is the purpose of retention money. Okay, I give you 50% back. I still, within this period, I still hold you 50% of the retention money. In case you don't come back, I use the money to fix the problem. But at the end, I will pay you back. Okay, after the defect liability period. Okay, now these are just some of the sample. Okay, take a look at this. Another statement, we call it extra work, order of extra work. In case sometimes the clients may want to make some changes, they just issue instruction, okay, and they call it VO. This is a common term in construction. Variation order. Variation order. Okay? In other words, when you make changes, you issue this order. Okay? Variation order. And in the variation order, as you can see here, you give instruction if there's any price change, okay, they have to negotiate and come up with an agreeable price, okay, both, okay, and then estimated net effect on the cost of work. In other words, this is just a sample of variation order, okay, and then in case you make any changes, how you estimate the cost, okay? Usually, when you ask someone to do something extra, you have to pay extra, right? How to calculate this extra? Usually, the extra will be paid according to how much labor you use, or the material you use, or the equipment you use, and they are both all are based on standard rate. Okay, you can use the BQ as a reference, or use the government published rate as reference. Okay, but somehow they need to calculate labor, material, and plant use. Okay, in that extra work, and this is just a sample. Okay, because of this extra work, okay, I need that many labor. These are the rate. I need extra equipment. Okay, I need extra material, and then come up with this total. Okay, so that is how they come up with. They call it day work account. Day work. On a particular day, I ask you to do extra work. Okay, I put it into an account and calculate the labor, material, and equipment used. And this you will be given this amount of because of extra work you perform. Now remember, always add profit overhead. Add profit overhead. Profit overhead. Okay, you pay back the contractor, labor, material, and equipment. That is just a cost. Okay, you will add certain percentage of to cover his overhead and profit. Okay. I guess I will stop it here. The remaining will be very not much material for this PowerPoint. Okay, we will continue.